Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, help us out and click subscribe to show your support. And while you're at it, if you're a YouTube user, make sure you enable notifications so you get updates every time the Pro Wrestling Podcast puts up a new episode. While you're at it, if you're sick and tired of spending $60 to $100 for the latest, greatest wrestling video game, stop immediately and go to Wrestler Unstoppable, available exclusively through Facebook. Create your own wrestler, sign contracts, get involved in storylines, headline pay-per-views, even build your own corporation, all included in Wrestler Unstoppable, available now to all Facebook users totally free. If you want to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family and you want your name in the shoutouts like our buddy Harold in St. Louis, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Pro Wrestling Podcast and sign up today. For the month of January. Any $25 contributor will co-host an episode of Going Live with me, and our $10 a month contributors will be entered into a drawing for another opportunity to host an episode of Going Live with me on one of our Saturday night episodes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this live episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. I had to get this up for you guys, being that tonight is the big night, the Royal Rumble. A little under the weather, wasn't able to get one up for you last night. Would have loved to have done that, but unfortunately that did not come together. But we're going to do it today. Don't forget, voting for the greatest superstar of the Monday Night War era is up and running. So I'm going to launch the new round of the tournament tonight in conjunction with the Royal Rumble. I thought that'd be a little more symbolic. I have not launched that yet. However, if you want to go in, because I'm delaying the start of that, I'm going to allow more votes in the first round. So feel free to go to ProWrestling.com, click on the icon to cast your vote today, and get your votes in. I'm going to post that episode. I'm going to put the new matches are going to go live as the Royal Rumble goes live tonight. So make sure you get in and get your votes in there. Also, if you have questions, comments, or concerns, there's two ways you can voice those to us and get them as part of the show. So if you want to send in questions ahead of time, if you want to send me stuff that you want me to address in the show, comments, what's going on in the world of wrestling, something you want me to answer, if there's some theory or fantasy booking scenario that you have, send those to the Pro Wrestling Sound Off line at 267-642-1160 and get us your questions, comments, or concerns so we can make them a part of the shows. We love to do that. But while we're live, at all times, you can pop into Spreaker.com go to ProWrestling.com, scroll down to our podcast, and there is a chat function which will appear right on the screen on the technology for me, and I can talk to you while we're live on the episode. And I would love to be able to do that, get you guys some shout-outs while we're doing the actual episode. And for those who have never been with the Pro Wrestling Podcast before, don't forget to go to our homepage at ProWrestling.com, where you can preview all the topics, everything we're going to discuss in every episode ahead of time. That's a great way for you to come up with the questions, the comments, the things you want us to cover on the Sound Off line. So be sure to check that out if you have never done it before. Major news in the world of professional wrestling. You got so much to cover in not, an infinite amount of time, so we want to get going. Some crazy things. So first off, I am going to do the Royal Rumble predictions. That will come at the end of the episode. But last night, major news coming out of New Japan Pro Wrestling at their New Beginning show. One of the main matches on the card, Kenny Omega defending the United States Championship against Jay White. Jay White ends up defeating Kenny Omega for the United States Championship. Hangman Page was there. Page wanted to challenge Jay White immediately, become the next challenger for the United States title. Kenny Omega wanted him to kind of back off a bit, and he handed the belt to Jay White out of respect. This prompted the Bullet Club to come out from the back, and Cody Rhodes attacks Kenny Omega after he loses the United States Championship. So, new United States, IWGP United States Champion, Jay White, and a new change, a change of leadership atop of the Bullet Club. Cody, now the leader of the faction. Kenny Omega is out, and as we've seen for months building, obviously this is going to lead to a situation where Cody versus Omega will take place probably sooner rather than later, but it is huge news in the world of wrestling. And if you have not seen the New Beginning show, if you're not a subscriber to the New Japan Pro Wrestling streaming service like the WWE Network, by all means try to find that stuff on YouTube. It's usually out by now. Great matches, just insanely great matches. In New Japan, one of the leaders in the world at putting on some of the best wrestling. So check that out. Big news this week also for a WWE star, 205 Live's Rich Swann. All charges dropped against him in his domestic violence situation. Not enough evidence to create charges. WWE, Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Shane McMahon, Triple H have all made comments about this particular situation. And pretty much WWE's position was they were going to wait until they saw what the legal process did. If charges were filed, he'd be fired immediately, but there were no charges filed. So now you have to wonder how soon he may return to WWE television. At this point, if there are no charges, it's kind of hard to see them, especially with a guy who has no previous history of being an issue. As a matter of fact, he has a great reputation in the locker room. You have to wonder how long it'll be before he is back in the ring for WWE, and at a time when they need somebody to step up in the Cruiserweight division because of everything that went on with Enzo Amore. And on an update to that, I'm not going to pass judgment on either party, but what I'm going to tell you is looking this week and seeing all the text messages, the tweets that were put out there by the alleged victim makes her story sound a little bit shady. It almost sounds as though she was bragging throughout the night, in the wee hours of the night, about a relationship that she had with Enzo Amore, and then the next day was concerned about her father finding out about her being there, and so allegedly she has fabricated this story to keep her father from kicking her out of her current placement for her living arrangement. I don't know who to believe. If someone, as I said this on the last episode, if somebody was assaulted in any way, I want that perpetrator to be held to the strictest letter of the law. We need to stop people from doing these things. If nothing happened and she created a situation because of whatever the other motive is, I think we need laws in place to hold her criminally responsible if that's the case. I'm not really sure what happened, but I'm very confused right now about how I should feel about Enzo. Obviously, he's a moron. All right, he should have told WWE what was going on. He shouldn't be putting himself in situations like that to begin with, but obviously he's an idiot, so great. He's not going to be in WWE programming. I'm not going to miss him at all. If you will, I apologize, but I have no need to see Enzo Amore ever again. I didn't like his work to begin with. However, I'm not a person who's going to campaign to have a guy's life ruined because of somebody fabricating stuff about them. You know, in this day and age, that's very easy to do, and it's a shame. It shouldn't be that easy, but we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But at this point, I'm not sure how to feel about the Enzo Amore situation. Ronda Rousey, I don't know if it's her trying to throw people off for the trail or if she's trying to be honest and upfront with people, but she posted pictures from the set of the movie she's shooting, trying to let people know she will not be at the Royal Rumble. She has not signed with WWE. That's what she's saying. That's what her management group is saying. That's what Triple H and Stephanie are saying. They're just saying stay tuned. So at this point, she's insisting she's not going to be at the Rumble and not going to be at Mania. So I don't know if this is a swerve to try to throw off the fans and then she shows up tonight. I don't know if it's legit. If she doesn't show up tonight, I think there's going to be a lot of people, almost like the Daniel Bryan year where he got thrown out early and then Batista went on to win. I almost feel like people are going to be angry at whoever does win because they all want Rousey to be there, but which is unfair. And coincidentally, they're in Philadelphia again where they were the year that Daniel Bryan didn't win. Very fascinating with that. The Bullet Club this week confirmed that there were actual negotiations with Hulk Hogan to come into the Bullet Club. That the reason he didn't come in and join the faction was because Hogan's contract and financial demands were too high. And I find it fascinating. That, and they had the opinion that had they brought Hogan in, and had he been a huge attraction, that WWE would have wanted to swoop in and snatch him up again, and that would have been the way for him to get his foot in the door with WWE. That he did something similar with TNA in the past. And I can see what they're saying. I really can. Now, the part about him going to WWE and everything is really simple. There's a way to overcome that. It's you give him a contract that is exclusive. And if he doesn't want to sign it, then the heck with him. As far as the money is concerned, I don't know what he thinks he's worth at this point. But if you're going to pay Chris Jericho $1.5 million for one night, I can't imagine you couldn't have come to terms with something with Hulk Hogan. It's just my opinion. Braun Strowman's WrestleMania plans are out there. At least the theory is that Braun Strowman is going to be taking on The Miz for the WWE Intercontinental Championship, and that's one of the reasons the championship was transitioned back to The Miz for his one of his 8 reigns. He'll probably carry that title till WrestleMania, putting him, if I remember correctly, in second place all time for a number of days holding the title behind Pedro Morales. And then he'll face Braun at WrestleMania. And I, of course, expect if that happens for Braun to walk out with the Intercontinental Championship. If he does not, that's a testament to how strongly WWE believes in The Miz's character. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But he's not the only one who they're talking about new plans at WrestleMania. We've been waiting all year. The word was that Roman Reigns was going to challenge Brock Lesnar for the World Championship. And today, I read articles saying that that may not be the case anymore, that because of the contract signing and announcing of the signing of the talent of EC3 to WWE, that they may want to work a program with another TNA star, Bobby Lashley, at WrestleMania with Brock Lesnar. If that were to happen, and if they really feel strongly that they can get Lashley under contract, then there is a chance that tonight Brock Lesnar does lose that Universal Championship so that he'd be freed up to face Bobby Lashley. That, or they have to put Bobby Lashley immediately into the World Championship title picture, and I hate it when people do that, but that's the only other way I can see that happening. If that were to happen, it only furthers the notion that Shinsuke Nakamura might be the favorite for the Rumble tonight. We'll get to that later when we get to our predictions. NXT Takeover took place last night. I thought the Tag Team Championship match is fantastic. The Undisputed Era, the Red Dragon are just phenomenal. They always have been. I think they're doing the right thing by them, making them a strong faction in NXT. When you see the NXT Championship was successfully defended, the Women's Championship was successfully defended. You see the return of Tommaso Ciampa attacking Johnny Gargano. You knew that was coming at some point. Those two obviously have a lot there. I actually would have, not that I'm against Andrade, but I would have loved to have seen them give the championship to Johnny Gargano, and that way Ciampa could attack him with the motive of not only attacking his former partner, but getting a chance to take that NXT championship. And they didn't go that angle. I was a little surprised. EC3 was spotted at NXT TakeOver, so it's official. They've announced his signing. And the rest of the show, it was solid. Velveteen Dream looked great again. I mean, I remember watching that kid on Tough Enough and thinking he had skill, but his personality was so annoying. This Velveteen Dream character is phenomenal. It's very creative. Very akin to... oh gosh, what was the guy's name in WWE that was with JBL in his cabinet? Orlando Jordan. That's the kind of feel I get from the Velveteen Dream, but even more animated, more charismatic. It's interesting to see how that has evolved over the last year or two. The return of the XFL. This has been a topic of conversation this week. It is confirmed 2020 is when Vince McMahon will launch the promotion once again. Hopefully this time he'll take his time and structure this thing to be a little bit more successful. Some people are concerned of the oversaturation of football content. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think that people love football. It's the number one sport in the United States, and I think that any offering is a good offering. However, they have to have good action. Can't just bring in a bunch of B-rated players and expect them to do well and think that people are going to get over with the ratings. You need to sign some premier talent or the best talent you can, and the only way to do that is to pay them the way that they should be paid in the NFL if you're going to bring in NFL level talent. If not, you have to grab the best of the rest from college that don't get signed by the NFL or who get cut by NFL teams and hope that they can deliver the kind of action that the XFL is promising to bring. They did say in the press conference they want to keep the games to about 2 hours. They want to cut out halftime. They want to eliminate all the distractions, all the commercials and everything. And they also were specific to state that Vince McMahon said there will be no crossover with World Wrestling Entertainment. This is a separate entity and he doesn't want the crossover. I find that to be an interesting business decision as WWE has such a huge following, but I respect it if he actually holds to that. Update on Roman Reigns' steroid situation. The guy who made the claim says that he has proof of Roman Reigns being a client. I'd be interested to know, one, when that took place, if this is something where Reigns was a client back when he was found guilty of using PEDs and he served out his suspension, or is this something more recent? If it turns out it's more recent, we got a problem heading into WrestleMania. If that's not the case, this is a guy just trying to get a plea deal to make his case look better, throwing out some big names, and it's pathetic. He's got to know there's going to be something that comes out of that. I'm going to encourage everybody in April. There's going to be a huge documentary on HBO about Andre the Giant, but the 2-minute teaser trailer is out. Please check that out. Interesting trailer. You get to see Andre in some vulnerable spots, some really famous guys. All the legends are commenting on the show. By all means, check out the Andre the Giant documentary trailer. It's coming to HBO in April. I can't wait to see that. I think it's going to be a really great production. So one of those talents that the industry lost way too soon. In his 40s, it's sad, but still making an impact all these years later. It's just amazing that somebody took the time to pay homage to one of the greatest superstars to ever grace the wrestling ring. 205 Live. So as people know, this week they're going to be having a commissioner assigned to 205 Live, much like SmackDown and Raw. And the theory is they were going to have Summer Rae do this, but then she was released from her contract because they were concerned that she was taller than most of the 205 Live roster. So at this point, speculation is out there. Who's going to be the 205 Live general manager? I can assure you, breaking news, it is not me. Unfortunately, I think I can make that brand even better than it already is. But it will be announced this week who the general manager will be, and they will address the Cruiserweight Championship situation on 205 Live this week. Check that out. Make sure you get a look at what they're going to do. So, by the way, I got to throw this out there. My buddy John in Hatfield, John the sports guy, tuning into the episode. I always can count on John to be here. He's like my brother from another mother. Thank you, John, for always being a part of the show. What a great guy. He's sitting there right in the chat function. I totally whiffed and I didn't see that. I apologize, John. You're the man. Going to get into the predictions. So, in the pre-show, there's multiple matches. I'm not going to go through all the pre-show things. I will say this. Bobby Roode, I believe, is going to retain the United States Championship in the Open Challenge unless the challenger is Dolph Ziggler. If Dolph Ziggler comes out and challenges Bobby Roode and takes the title, it would not surprise me. That is the only scenario I see where Bobby Roode could lose the United States Championship tonight. So my prediction for that match is Bobby Roode wins and retains unless it's Dolph Ziggler. All right? Heading into the main show, and I'm going to skip over all the other pre-show nonsense because none of that really matters to me. The main show. First off, I see the Usos losing the SmackDown Tag Team Championship to Gable and Shelton Benjamin. I think that's a long time coming. They've had every swerve, mix match, mishmash, every other way. It's time to give them the belts. I find it fascinating that when Gable and Shelton Benjamin win the tag team championship and the referee's decision is always final, they reverse it, restart the match, and then they lose the match to the champions. Where on Raw, the opposite happens. They can't restart a match because the referee's decision is final. When they did the faux 3 count, when the referee screwed up the 3 count during the Jason Jordan Seth Rollins versus the Bar match. It's amazing how the rules are different on each brand. Fascinating. I guess they expect people to be stupid and not to see that stuff happening, but whatever. So I predict that the Usos will finally lose that tag team championship. It'll go to Gable and Benjamin. I think that needs to happen if you're planning on making the New Day champions again going forward, because the Uso feud has been done to death between those two teams. So that's my motivation there. On Raw, I actually expect the tag team championship not to change hands. Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins retain tonight, but a little more seeds planted for an eventual split. I think their split will happen, but I think they'll lose the tag titles the way they do it a lot of times, using the tag team championship as a ratings boost for a Raw episode, where that's where Jordan will turn on Seth Rollins, and then we'll see the team split heading into WrestleMania, where the two of them potentially could match up. So that I predict for tonight that the Raw tag team champions will retain their titles. As far as the World Championships, first off, AJ Styles is going to defeat Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I think that's almost ridiculous to even think about. And if that doesn't happen, I'll be floored like the rest of you will. If one of the other two guys was going to win it, it better be Sami Zayn. But I don't see that happening. I think AJ Styles retains because he's going to go to WrestleMania and face Shinsuke Nakamura, who I predict will win the Men's Royal Rumble. Now, on the Raw side of things, the World Championship, the Universal title, I should say, I predict that Brock Lesnar will retain the championship. In addition, I predict that Asuka will walk out the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. And now here's the thing. I have somebody already, and again, I've said this before, if you're going to put comments, please give me a name so I can give you credit. Somebody's telling me right now on the chat function, hey, they're like, you're just going with the favorites. Some of the matches, there's a reason they're the favorite, because they're going to win. I think Asuka is the only person who can win, unless Ronda Rousey does show up. I already said in our last episode what I think they should do. I think that if Rousey does come out, she should not win. I think Rousey should come out, Stephanie should jump up from the announce table and cost Rousey the Royal Rumble, setting up a match between Rousey and Stephanie. The only reason I say that is because I don't see Ronda Rousey going and facing Charlotte, which is the only person I want to see her face. So if that's not going to happen because they have other plans for Charlotte, then I want to see Rousey and Stephanie, because it keeps Rousey's strong. She doesn't have to go against a well-established star in case her in-ring skills are not up to par yet. And Stephanie has a lot of experience in the ring, former women's champion. She's been in the ring even as recently as SummerSlam a few years ago. It would make a great storyline, and they already started that feud a couple WrestleManias ago with that whole issue with Triple H, The Rock, Stephanie, and Rousey in the ring for that show. So it makes a lot of sense to me. However, if Rousey does come into the ring, and if they don't do what I'm saying to do, then Rousey would win the Royal Rumble. I'm just hoping that's not the case. I'm pulling for Asuka. I actually want Becky Lynch to win. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be Asuka, unfortunately. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next episode where we'll run down all the latest wrestling news and rumors. We'll go over what happens at the Royal Rumble. Special thanks to everyone at bensound.com and purpleplanet.com for producing any of the music and sound effects that we use in the show. Today's episode is sponsored in part by Beazle Games. Bringing a new friend to family game night is easy with sketchy people. Showcase your artistic side in this new game from Beazle Games by going to frowrestling.com and clicking the icon in the middle of the screen. And to alleyrepair.com. Contact Alley Repair today for servicing of all your classic skee-ball, pinball, and arcade game needs. If you're looking for your next career move, you're considering college, university life, you just need some formal training for your next career decision, go to our website at frolifeplanning.com for all your higher education needs, as Fro Life Educational Planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Mr. Fro. Thank you so much for taking a few moments with us today, and make sure you check out that Royal Rumble tonight, watch all the action, and shoot me some comments on the Sound Off line. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.